Hello everyone, this is Mario. Welcome back to my channel and to episode 7 of my Groupama FDJ career in Pro Cycling Manager. So it's been a while since the last episode, and so before actually starting the proper episode, I would just like to take a moment to thank all of you who watch my videos and who support my channel. I really appreciate all the feedback coming from you. It was really important, especially in the previous episode. I think it was a really nice episode, and you guys gave me a lot of good feedback both in YouTube and in Discord. So a big thank you for that. And one other thing I would like to tell you as I begin this episode is that I will try to do something a bit different in this one, because I think I'm taking too long with the stages I'm recording for you. And because of that, I actually think that I will have some trouble in finishing one season in this career. So because of that, I will try to fit all the races you are seeing in this screen right now in 3 episodes. So for that, I will start, of course, today by riding Milano-Sanremo, and I also want to ride Brugge-De, the E3 BinckBank Classic and Gent-Wevelgem. And to do this and also show you Volta Ciclista Catalunya, I'm going to try to show you a bit of a condensed version of Catalunya. And the way I'm going to do that is by not basically comment the races live. So I will record them and then show you just a bit of the highlights of the stages. I hope this is good enough for you, so I would really appreciate the feedback on what I'm trying to do in this one. Still, if the episode gets too long, I really apologize for that. Also, as you can see, Steve Moravito had an unfortunate injury. He has a microtendinitis in the Achilles tendon, so I was planning to take him on Tour de Romandie, and he probably won't be doing that anymore. It's not a big blow, but, well, it's a shame that he's not going to take part in one of his home country races. And so, without further delay, let's go into Milano-Sanremo, the first monument of the season, and it's the one that better suits the sprinters. And because of that, I will of course try to win the race with Arnaud Démare. It's quite unfortunate that he didn't activate his fitness peak in time. On the plus side, you will have the fitness peak activated for the Northern Classic season. So, of course, it's not going to be anywhere easy to try to win the race with Arnaud Démare. There are very strong riders, really strong sprinters trying to go for this one. And also, we always need to count with the punchers, with those attacks in the Poggio and the Cipressa. So yeah, let's see how the race goes and if I can try to win it with Démare. The sponsor wants us to get a top 10 finish. I think that's quite achievable. So the riders are now departing from Milano, and today Arnaud Démare is not on a plus race day condition, but still he's having a virtual 80 sprint stat, so it's not the worst. I think I can try to go for the top 10 finish and maybe challenge for the win. I know that in Milano-Sanremo the breakaway never gets anything, but still I'm going to try to take Anthony Roux in the breakaway today if the peloton allows it. So with 140 kilometers to go, there is a 5-man breakaway group today. They are currently 4 minutes ahead of the peloton, and in this group we don't really have anyone that we can think is a strong contender for the win. It's interesting that Sunweb got 2 men in this group. On the other hand, I was unable to put first Anthony Roux in the breakaway, then I tried to go with Ladagnou, but I wasn't allowed to do so. And with 30 kilometers to go, and as we approach La Cipressa, the riders in the breakaway are now being caught. So Diego Rosa and Nicolas Roche were the last survivors and they were now caught. We are going to start the ascension of La Cipressa. Let's increase the effort with my sprinters. Arnaud Démare, Sinkeldam and Olgaard, so that they can go over this climb without major issues, and so that they can stay at the front of the group. And I won't try to attack with any of my riders. I don't have a really strong puncher to try to do something here. And so we easily survived La Cipressa. Now we will have the Poggio in about 10 kilometers. It's quite shorter than La Cipressa, but it's closer to the finish line. So there might be some attacks there. So let's try to maintain at the front of the group, especially with Arnaud Démare. If I lose any of the other sprinters, I won't worry too much. And so now starting the ascension to the Poggio with my sprinters at the front of the peloton. They are well positioned. Let's actually try to use a really strong effort to maintain their positions. I don't want to lose energy here, but let's see, Jasper Stuyven is attacking. Oh no, let's try to follow him. I don't want to let him go away. Let's pace at 90 with my 3 sprinters. Everyone else is really short of energy now. Maybe let's try to make a sprint train with Olgaard at the front, then Sinkeldam and Arnaud Démare. Ooh, we are at the top of the Poggio now. Let's pace with Sinkeldam now for Arnaud Démare. Let's use the energy gel. I forgot that. 5 kilometers to go. We are now going downhill. Let's see. Elie Viviani is here. Also Wout van Aert, Rowan Dennis. We are still trying to get to Jasper Stuyven. He still has 20 seconds over the rest of the peloton. I hope this wasn't a mistake. Let's see, Sinkeldam is pacing now. Let's start to sprint soon with him. Let's go now with him. And let's now go with Arnaud Démare. Can he take the win? But it's going to be for Jasper Stuyven. Stuyven is going to win Milano-Sanremo, and Arnaud Démare is going to be third. Arnaud Démare finishes in the podium behind Caleb Ewan. He was once more beaten by Caleb Ewan in the final sprint. So here is the end of the race. Jasper Stuyven had the lead. He was really short of energy in the end, but he managed to take the win ahead of Caleb Ewan and Arnaud Démare. I'm quite pleased with the performance by Arnaud Démare. He got a podium finish, so it's better than what the sponsor wanted for the team. And he was able to beat most of the other top sprinters, most of them stronger than him. The only one he didn't beat was his now kind of bitter rival Caleb Ewan. After Milano-Sanremo, the team rode the Grand Prix de Denain-Port du Hainaut, and this is a flat race, a flat classic with a few cobbled sections, but not really hard. We had Marc Sarre as the team leader and basically as the top favorite for the win in this race. He did win the final sprint in the race, but the problem was that there was a late attack by Jérôme Bogny, who took the win for Wanty Gobert, and so Marc Sarre got his 6th podium in the season, but still without a win. After this one, the team went to ride Volta Ciclista Catalunya, a 7-day race in Spain. We went for this one with no sponsor objectives and without a really strong team apart from Thibaut Pinot coming from his win in Paris-Nice, but he was going to face really strong competitors with Egan Bernal, Tom Dumoulin, Geraint Thomas, Richard Carapaz, so a lot of really strong riders in this one. On the other hand, the sprinter field is quite weak, and that's the reason why our sprinter for this race, Jacopo Guarnieri, is considered among the top favorites, even though he's not a really strong sprinter. So for the first stage, quite hilly stage with some really long hills and mountains, I decided to take Kilian Franchini in the breakaway to start collecting some mountain points for the mountain classification. He went in the daily breakaway with 6 other riders, and they got a pretty solid lead in the first big climb of the day. In the first big mountain of the day, Kilian Franchini followed the initial attack and was actually able to be the first to reach the top of the climb and to take the most points from this one. But then in the following climbs, he did struggle and was unable to get a lot of points. And so then I decided to drop him to the peloton to do some work to try to bring back the riders in the breakaway. Once I did that, I decided to assemble a sprint train for Jacopo Guarnieri. And then approaching the final kilometer of the race, Guarnieri was in a really good position. The sprint preparation was really good, and he was able to take a surprising win in the first stage of Volta Ciclista Catalunya. And with that, he was also the first rider to wear the leader's jersey. Then going to the second stage, considered as a flat stage, although with some hills and with a slight uphill finish, I was again trying to win the stage with Jacopo Guarnieri, till I tried to go in the breakaway with Benoit Vaugrenard in the beginning, but then he was dropped in the first hill of the day, so he wasn't able to follow the pace. The peloton was pacing really hard. AG Dozer was pacing hard at the front of the peloton. Then I decided to try and take Kilian Franchini in the breakaway to collect a few more mountain points. He did join the breakaway group but was unable to take any points in the first climb. Then, approaching the end of the stage, I once again assembled the sprint train for Jacopo Guarnieri, trying to lead the Italian to another win. And approaching the final kilometer, I was trying to launch the sprint with Guarnieri, but I didn't really do it the perfect way. I started the sprint with Guarnieri way too late, and he was really well behind when he started the sprint. So the win in the stage was for Ivan Garcia Cortina. And so next up we have Driedaagse Brugge-De Panne. It's one more of the World Tour Classic races. This one is almost 200 kilometers long. It has a few cobbled sections, but it's not the hardest cobbles you can find in a World Tour race. And so because of that, the top sprinters are probably the most likely to contend for the win. I'm going for this one with both Arnaud Démare and Marc Sarre, the team's top sprinters, with their fitness peaks activated, and because the start list for this race is leaving a lot of the world's top sprinters out, actually Arnaud Démare is considered as the top favorite for the win. And so we are now starting the race, and for this one I'm having Marc Sarre on a +2 race day condition. Arnaud Démare is on a 0 day. Having such a good day, I may actually try to go for this one with Marc Sarre as the team's main rider. And with roughly 100 kilometers still to go in this race, the peloton is now on the Camelberg. The gap between the peloton and today's breakaway is a little over 2 minutes. We have it was a group of 5 riders a bit earlier. Now we have 3 riders in the front, then 2 more that were dropped. And now with 28 kilometers to go, we still have a group of riders in the front, but now only 40 seconds ahead. We have Romput trying to pace hard at the front. Also Movistar, which is quite surprising considering the type of riders they have. And soon I will assemble my sprint train, and I think I will actually risk it and have Marc Sarre as the main sprinter in the back of the train. And so now with 10 kilometers to go, we had an attack by Adrien Petit. He's a bit ahead, 15 seconds ahead of the rest of the peloton. I'm having a sprint train set for Marc Sarre, and I need to increase the pace now a bit with my train. Let's now go with Kung at 95. We have Postelberger attacking, 4.5k to go. Let's see, let's prepare already Sinkeldam for this, and we are 3.5 kilometers from the finish line. Stefan Kung giving all he can, and now let's start pacing with Sinkeldam. You will soon start sprinting. Let's start sprinting with Sinkeldam at the 1.8 mark. Let's go now with him, and now let's launch Arnaud Démare, and launching Marc Sarre in the end. Who is going to take the win here? Is it going to be Arnaud Démare or Marc Sarre? Marc Sarre takes the first win of his season, and it's a great win for Groupama FDJ. Of course, the competition wasn't the strongest in this one, but it's a great win for Marc Sarre, his first of the season, and another World Tour win for Groupama FDJ. Sarre was feeling really good, and since he didn't have any wins today, I made him the main rider for the team. I could have easily won with Arnaud Démare as well, but well, Démare is working for Sarre now, because in the future Sarre will definitely be working for Démare. So going back to Volta Ciclista Catalunya, we had the third stage, possibly the queen stage of the race, with a summit finish at the top of a really long climb and hard climb, Volta 2000. For this one, Thibaut Pinot was considered as the top favorite for the stage, and at the beginning of the stage I was really confident with him because he had a +2 race day condition. Also, I wanted to try to take some mountain points with Kilian Franchini in this one, but he was really far behind in the peloton at the start of the stage, so that was not ideal. He did manage to get to the breakaway group, but almost out of energy, so he really struggled. He still managed to hang on in the breakaway for a while more, but with a really strong pace in the peloton, it was never going to be an easy day for the breakaway. Still, Franchini did manage to hang on a bit more in the next climb, and he was together with Maxime Montfort at the end of the climb and did take the top points in that one, but that was basically the end of the stage for him. I then dropped him to the peloton to try to do some work for Thibaut Pinot. Then in the penultimate climb, the first few attacks started. Richard Carapaz was the first one to attack, with then David de la Cruz and Mikel Nieve trying to bring the Equatorian back. Then David de la Cruz actually launched an attack to try to bring Carapaz back, but then he left Geraint Thomas working at the front of the peloton. A bit later it was Mikhail Kwiatkowski attacking, and he did launch a really strong attack and managed to bridge the gap to Carapaz fairly easily. But then when he did that, they both eased down on the pace, and Thibaut Pinot first and then Simon Yates, I think it was Simon Yates, managed to bring the pair back. Then in the final climb of the day, first we had an attack by Adam Yates and Julien Alaphilippe, but then they were followed by Egan Bernal and Richard Carapaz, and I had to follow the attack by Egan Bernal. So Thibaut Pinot was going on their wheel with Adam Yates and Alaphilippe a bit ahead, then Bernal, Carapaz and Thibaut Pinot with the other ones trying to catch them. Later it was Jakob Fuglsang launching a really strong attack. I didn't follow the attack initially on this one. I tried to pace with Thibaut Pinot to try to get to them. Pinot was a bit short of energy at this time, but he was being able to bring back the other ones, with the exception of Jakob Fuglsang, who was really in a strong day. Then with about 1.5 kilometers to the top of the climb, Alaphilippe launched an attack, then Egan Bernal as well. Thibaut Pinot kept his pace, not a really strong pace because he was fairly exhausted, but he was being able to bridge the gap to the other ones, dropping Tom Dumoulin in the process. Jakob Fuglsang still in the front, Alaphilippe trying to attack again, but Fuglsang still had a bit in him, and he was able to win the stage, with Thibaut Pinot reaching to Egan Bernal and Alaphilippe and taking second in the stage. So Jakob Fuglsang showing he was in this one for the win. He was really strong in this day and took the leader's jersey after the Queen stage. So going to the next stage, another really hard one, and with only 25 seconds separating Jakob Fuglsang and Thibaut Pinot, there was only one option for this stage, which was to go all-out attack with Thibaut Pinot. Of course, I also wanted to take a few more points with Kilian Franchini for the KOM competition, but once more he was really far behind in the peloton. But for Thibaut Pinot, he was on a really strong day, a +3 day, so things were looking quite good. The early kilometers of the stage were once again really hard. There was a really insane 46 riders breakaway group at the beginning. The peloton didn't really enjoy that, so they were pacing really hard and managed to bring back the group. But as soon as the group was caught, another attack was made. So again, Kilian Franchini tried to follow the attack, but his energy was getting depleted really fast. Most riders were struggling already at the top of the first climb. TJ van Garderen was the first one at the top of that climb, with Kilian Franchini not being able to take any points, so then I dropped him back to the peloton. And in the first really big climb of the day, I had Thibaut Pinot doing some short attacks to try to test the peloton, the other competitors, but they were responding quite easily. I tried another attack in the same climb, again Pinot gaining a few meters, then dropping the pace, and the other ones trying to follow. They were basically being able to follow the attacks by Thibaut Pinot. So yeah, maybe I was just wasting a lot of energy with Pinot and not damaging my competitors a lot. In the following climb, I tried the same strategy again, an attack with Thibaut Pinot, but this time, to my surprise, I wasn't able to drop anyone, so I started to doubt a bit on the ability of Pinot to gain some time in this stage. Then, going on the final climb of the day, I decided this time to simply put in a strong pace by Thibaut Pinot. At the time when Rigoberto Urán had a puncture, so he lost contact with the main group, Hugh Carty dropped to help his leader, and as the riders were approaching the top of the climb, Pinot did not manage to drop anyone, especially Jakob Fuglsang. He was feeling really nicely in the peloton still, and Thibaut Pinot was seeing his energy depleted really fast. Then going to the finish line, Thibaut Pinot was really exhausted. He still tried to sprint for the win. He could not take it. The win was for TJ van Garderen coming from the breakaway. Julien Alaphilippe was second and Egan Bernal was third. And unfortunately, Thibaut Pinot did lose some time in this stage. I did not count on that, especially after pacing for so long. But yeah, he did lose a bit of time, and in the end he dropped to third in the GC. Egan Bernal overtook him, and in the mountain classification, Raúl Alarcón had a really strong day and basically snatched the win in the KOM. Then going for stage 5, again considered as a hilly one, but with a relatively flat finish, so maybe I could try to take another win with Jacopo Guarnieri. In this one, I decided to give a chance to Olivier Legac in the breakaway, not because he was feeling in a strong day, because he wasn't, but simply because it was my only option at the front of the peloton. With still about 30 kilometers to go, the breakaway riders had 1 minute and 20 over the peloton, so it looked like the peloton would take the stage win. But the thing was that with 11 kilometers to go, the breakaway still had 1 minute and 20 seconds of lead. So at this time, I thought that maybe the stage would be decided by the breakaway. I still tried to bring them back to try to challenge with Guarnieri, but then I decided to just try to go for the win with Olivier Legac. He was not the best sprinter in this group by any means, and of course he could not take the win. The win was for Raúl Alarcón, taking the win for W52, and Guarnieri didn't even challenge for the win. And now, still on the 29th of March, the same day as the 5th stage of Volta Ciclista Catalunya, we are going back to, let's say, live races. I'm going to ride E3 BinckBank Classic, and this is possibly the first really big cobbled classic of the season. I'm going to take Arnaud Démare as the main rider for the team, although he's not really feeling well today. I'm also taking Stefan Kung and Marc Sarre as other strong riders for this one, but of course, all the main favorites in cobbled classics are going to be here, so it's not a surprise that none of my riders is among the top 10 favorites. So yeah, it's going to be a really big struggle to try and take a good result in this one. And so for this one, Marc Sarre, Arnaud Démare and Kung are all having really good days. I'm going to try to take Antoine Duquesne in the breakaway today. I will wait a bit more because I also want to try to take Ladagnu in the break. But well, there are already riders attacking, so let's put Duquesne in the breakaway already. Try to go with him. Let's see where Ladagnu is. He's really far behind. And so, as in the breakaway we finished the first cobbled section of the race, I did manage to put Matteo Ladagnu in the breakaway, although he did waste plenty of energy trying to do so. So I will now use him to protect Antoine Duquesne so that the Canadian can hold on in the breakaway for longer. And with 110 kilometers to go, we had some important moves in the peloton. Edvald Bossenhagen is in a group that attacked together with Sylvain Dillier, so we need to pay attention to these riders. A few more are attacking. Matej Mohoric and Vandenberg are going for the breakaway. And so as Michael Valgren is trying to attack together with Lucas Postelberger, I'm trying to follow with Stefan Kung. Let's see if this is going to be useful or not, or if I'm just wasting energy with Kung. And so now with 64 kilometers to go, I did manage to get Stefan Kung at the front of the race. He's now in the front group, together with Ladagnu and Antoine Duquesne. But, well, he did waste a lot of energy trying to reach the front. Meanwhile, I need to increase the efforts with Sarre and Arnaud Démare. I don't want them to get dropped here. Let's actually go 99. This is stretching a bit. Ooh, Démare is being left behind. Let's try to get him back to the front. And we are now on the Route de Quaremont, still with Stefan Kung and Duquesne in the front of this breakaway group. Let's call it like that. We have Tanel Kangert trying to go away. All my riders are getting really exhausted. I already lost Arnaud Démare. He's in a group behind. Sarre is about to get dropped as well. So yeah, I'm left with Kung here and Duquesne. I was actually protecting Duquesne with Kung. I thought that was a better option, but apparently not. So Kung is going to be my main focus for the remaining race. This is not going to be easy to do something with him. So we have an attack by Philippe Gilbert, 27 kilometers from the finish line. He's trying to bridge to Valgren, Dillier, Bossenhagen and Matej Mohoric. He's about to do that. 21 riders in this group. Further ahead we have 5 more. Now Mike Tunison is trying to attack. I'm not going to follow that. It's a bit suicidal for Kung. Let's try to maintain in this group, still with Sepp van Marken, Alberto Bettiol and the 2 De Koning Quick-Step riders. And with 16k to go, we have another attack by Phil Gilbert, but in the front we have Peter Sagan and Jasper Stuyven. Matej Mohoric trying to bridge back. I'm in a group with Stefan Kung, a bit behind, about a minute behind the front riders, but Kung is about to be done for today. And with about 9k to go, Stefan Kung is about to get dropped. He's in a group with Zdenek Stibar, Alexander Kristoff, Van Baarle and Alberto Bettiol. We are almost catching the group in front of us where we have several of the favorites. In the front we have Greg van Avermaet, Matej Mohoric and Niels Pollitt. The win appears to be going for the riders in the front, but still 3k to go. Now it's Wout van Aert trying an attack, Thies Benoot trying to respond. 2.5k to go for the riders in the front. Who is going to be able to take the win here? Thies Benoot trying to bridge over. Let's see, let's try to pace a bit with Stefan Kung. 1.3 kilometers to go. Let's sprint now with Kung. And the winner is going to be Greg van Avermaet, winning E3 BinckBank Classic ahead of Matej Mohoric and Niels Pollitt. Stefan Kung is going to be out of the top 10, but well in the top 20 of this race. So it's not a bad result for the team in a really hard race. In the beginning of the race, I was maybe expecting a bit better from my team, but Démare and Sarre weren't really in their best shape. Kung did well in following the attack by Michael Valgren about midway through the race. In the end he got 16th. It was a decent result, I think. Going back to Volta Ciclista Catalunya, we had the penultimate stage. another flat one with a few hills, but the final kilometers were pretty flat, so it was another chance for Jacopo Guarnieri to take the stage win. For this one, Guarnieri was on a +3 race day condition, so he was feeling great to try to take the win in the final sprint. In the daily breakaway there were 9 riders. They had, with 140 kilometers to go, 4 minutes over the peloton, so I started to pace a bit with Kevin Genier. And in the second half of the race there was a big blow for the Koenig Quick-Step. The 7th placed rider in the GC, Julien Alaphilippe, fell and was forced to abandon. Then, still with over 40 kilometers to go in the stage, the breakaway was 3 minutes ahead of the peloton, and I was pacing really hard with 3 of my riders to try to bring them back to give a chance to Guarnieri to take the win. 15 kilometers later, a few other teams started working as well. The gap at this time was on 2 minutes between the breakaway and the peloton. But with 10 kilometers to go, I was starting to doubt the ability of the peloton to bring back the breakaway. With still over 1 minute separating the two groups, I had my sprint train already prepared for Guarnieri, but getting close to the finish line, things were really complicated. The breakaway still had a bit of a lead, and I was only left with Vaugrenard and Guarnieri, and then I made a critical mistake. I left Guarnieri too long in the wheel of Vaugrenard, and he started sprinting way too late. He would still not be able to get the stage win. The win was for Pavel Kochetkov. Guarnieri could not have a second one in Volta Ciclista Catalunya. So Kochetkov was the one taking the win from the breakaway. They nearly made it to the finish line ahead of the peloton in a stage where there were no changes in the GC apart from the retirement of Alaphilippe. Moving on to the final stage of Volta Ciclista Catalunya, ending in the circuit in Montjuic in Barcelona, a really hilly circuit. Thibaut Pinot was on a +1 race day condition for this one. Not the best, considering that I wanted to try an aggressive strategy to try to decrease the gap and maybe overtake Jakob Fuglsang. As we approached the first hill of the circuit, I had Guarnieri trying to pace a bit at the front of the peloton, with 19 riders in the breakaway group over 2 minutes ahead of the peloton. With still 35 kilometers to go in the stage, the pace in the peloton was quite strong, with Team Ineos mainly trying to put a strong pace, also Bahrain Merida and the Koenig Quick-Step. Then on the penultimate climb I tried to go really hard with Ludvigsen, trying to force the pace with Thibaut Pinot on his wheel, trying to leave the other contenders behind, but it wasn't really easy to do so. The other ones were feeling really strong, and at the top of this hill, Van Garderen was the leader of the race, still 1 minute ahead of the peloton. Then on the final climb I finally tried an attack with Thibaut Pinot to try to leave the other contenders behind, but as you can see, Jakob Fuglsang was feeling really strong and he wasn't dropped by the attack of Thibaut Pinot. Still, he managed to create a small gap at the top of the climb, going together with Bob Jungels, trying to go for TJ Van Garderen and for the stage win. But in the downhill, he was caught by the other contenders, and going to the final sprint, TJ Van Garderen was caught, Thibaut Pinot could not take the win, and the winner of the stage was Ivan Garcia Cortina, taking his second win in Volta Ciclista Catalunya. So in the end, Jakob Fuglsang was the strongest rider in the race, taking the win ahead of Egan Bernal, and Thibaut Pinot finished third. The KOM competition was won by Raul Alarcon. The points classification was for Mikhail Kwiatkowski, and the best young rider in the race was Egan Bernal. And finally, Team Ineos was the best in the race. So the team came to this race without any set objectives, and Thibaut Pinot managed to take third in the GC, a really solid performance, and we also took a win in the first stage with Jacopo Guarnieri. And so we started this episode with a sprinter-friendly classic, and we are going to finish the episode with another one. We are going to ride Gent-Wevelgem, 241 kilometers long. There are cobbled sections in this route, but they are pretty easy. there are a few hills, very steep, but not in great numbers and very short, so I do expect the sprinters to survive. For this one, I will be taking Arnaud Démare as the team leader, so let's try to win this one. It's of course not going to be easy. There are plenty of strong sprinters for this one, especially Caleb Ewan, the big rival for Arnaud Démare for most of this season. So let's try to beat the likes of Ewan, Viviane and Peter Sagan and take another win for Groupama FDJ. And so the riders are now starting Gent-Wevelgem, and we have Arnaud Démare on a +2 race day condition, Marc Sarre as well, and Stefan Kung in a +1. So this is going really well in that department. I'm going to try to take Mathieu Ladagnou in the breakaway today. So I said earlier that I was going to try to put Mathieu Ladagnou in the breakaway, but the peloton didn't allow that, so I changed my plan and went for William Bonnet. He is the one in the breakaway. It's unlikely that this group is going to take the win, but still we will do our share of the work. And now going on the Kemmelberg, probably the biggest difficulty of this race. Let's try not to lose contact with Démare and Marc Sarre. I want to keep them in the front. It's not being easy for the riders protecting my leaders, but well, Démare is looking good. Let's keep position now. He's at the top of the Kemmelberg, and with about 40 kilometers still to go, we now have some riders attacking, so let's try to not lose the position with Arnaud Démare and Marc Sarre. I don't want to get dropped here. The riders in the breakaway were caught now, so and Ladagnou got dropped here, so he's not protecting Marc Sarre anymore. Let's maintain position with Démare and Marc Sarre, and we are still at the front, 23 riders left only. And so with 25 kilometers to go, Dylan van Baarle is trying to attack together with Niels Pollitt, so we have to try to bring them back, not dropping Arnaud Démare and Marc Sarre. Let's try to increase their effort levels. And so we are now 9 kilometers from the finish. There are several riders attacking continuously. I'm now only with Marc Sarre and Arnaud Démare on his wheel. We have Jascha Sutterlin, Yves Lampaert, Oliver Nassen and Matej Mohoric trying the attack. 6.6 kilometers to go now. Let's see if we can take this. Wout van Aert launching a really strong attack. Let's use the energy gel on Arnaud Démare now. With 5k to go, let's see if we can still try to go for the win. I should maybe go a bit stronger already with Marc Sarre. They are losing a bit of touch with the other riders. Let's see. Sarre giving it all, trying to work for Arnaud Démare. 2.4 kilometers to go. Can we take this? Is it possible to take this? Let's go. Let's launch Marc Sarre now. And let's go with Arnaud Démare for the win. Can we take it? We are not going to take this. And the win is going to be for Elia Viviani. No, Caleb Ewan wins again in the sprint. He is really strong. Arnaud Démare finishes 5th. It's a good result, but, well, unfortunately, it's not a win. And in the end, Caleb Ewan was once more the strongest in the final sprint, beating everyone else. Elia Viviani, Pascal Ackermann, Alexander Kristoff and Arnaud Démare complete the top 5. And so with this one, I bring the episode to an end. I tried to do something different in this one with the post comments of Volta Ciclista Catalunya. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. Leave a comment below and tell me what you think about this episode. Give me your feedback on the way I decided to record this episode. I will really value your opinion. Also, if you're new to my channel, make sure you watch some of my other videos, and if you enjoy them, consider subscribing to that channel. I would really appreciate your support, and I hope to see you all next time for episode 8 of my Groupama FDJ career in Pro Cycling Manager. Bye!